Hello, Dark, our friends. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again, it's time for another Orc Mode workout. And as those of you noticed, I took yesterday off. I'm going to start only training 6 days a week. I'll discuss that later in here also. Today was Max Effort Deadlift Day, and please remember to click like down below. We have to keep the likes higher than the dislikes due to the goofy, silly clowns who run the dislike bot. But today was Max Effort Deadlift Day. A little better than last time, still not back to 100%. Gave me a good chance to assess what's going on. Now, if you guys notice, I hit my old sticking point here. Technically, with a weight, I have exceeded slightly before. Right? We hit my old sticking point, but we know what causes that sticking point, so I have to assess all of it carefully and have a game plan for building back through it. Now, some people are going to say, Jason, it's probably just fatigue due to your training volume, training frequency. Sort of. But even if that's the case, I still can get stronger when fatigued, right? We can still build up our weak links. Still irrelevant to that. We can still find the weak links, build through them. And the other thing to remember, when I hit the 605 deadlift, I was on like day 36 without a day off. Did my 5-day deload, came back, and within a week hit 615. But I mean, I was still technically slightly stronger than I am now on the deadlift. So when I noticed that I feel the same area of my back. My middle back seemed to really struggle there. But when I assess my deadlift, something that I'd have other lifters, and that's the beautiful thing about having other friends out there who do conjugate, who have similar strength levels and very similar deadlifts. You know, one of them pointed out that he can't hang with me on back movements. Like the axle bar row, he can't axle bar row, but I axle bar row. Not strict, but he can beat me on hamstring movements like the glute ham raise. And we have a different sticking point. And as he pointed out, you know, again, that I seem to be right, because once I get through that hamstring sticking point, once I pass it, I just usually explode through it, right? You guys notice that I hit my little sticking point, or what the West Side guys call the mini max, and I just blast through it and lock it super hard at the top because my back and my glutes are strong. I mean, look at my glute bridges. I can do over 500 pounds for 5 sets of 10. All right, my hamstrings are really the weak link, and what's happening, the reason I feel like I'm feeling my back so much there is because my back is used to taking over at the top of the sticking point. And so my back is trying to go ahead and just pull through because my hamstrings aren't firing hard enough. We could argue that maybe my quads too, but I'm doing extra quad work on squat day. So we really have to address the hamstring, right? And that's the thing. Once I pulled the good mornings out and was doing just the reverse hyper, other stuff, I wasn't getting enough hamstring work, particularly the way I've been doing my glute ham raises. Right, I've been doing them in the way that I was physically capable of and started adding bands. I had set my settings way back last year. The only thing that didn't just like destroy my knees on the bottom of that thing because of the design, I wish it had a rounder roller. That's what happens when you buy a $400 glute ham raise instead of a more expensive one. It's not bad, it's just that it can be uncomfortable on the knees of the wrong setting because you're hitting a piece of board. So essentially, the hip thrusts and glute bridges weren't enough to get my hamstrings where I need them. I feel like hamstrings started to regress, but it also hasn't been getting really ideally enough work anyways. Probably the only thing that's been truly working my hamstrings has been the good mornings. But when I'm fatigued, my hamstrings still can't fire hard enough to pull me through sticking points. Now, that means we need to continue to do the good mornings because why? They build my deadlift. Also, I feel them after each set kind of hitting that part of the back where the deadlift really felt it. So we're going to kill two birds with one stone with that. Also at the end of my rows, I noticed that also hits it with the strict rows also. So basically I'm feeling my whole mid back try to take over for like a hamstring. So I really need to continue to work both. Obviously we're going to keep working mid back, but we need to put a very serious hamstring focus here. Right? We knew my grip was a weak link. I fixed the grip, then hamstrings became a weak link, and I got just enough hamstring development to PR a couple times. Now, when I'm fatigued a little bit, I'm struggling. When I'm under recovered, I'm struggling. And so I've got to bring all these areas up. I not only need to keep bringing the back up because it will pull me through after I get through my sticking point, but we've got to really address the hamstrings on a very serious level. I feel like I made a lot of progress today, getting my hamstring exercises correctly dialed in, because that's what we have to do. Just like for the bench press, look, I have enough other coaches that have chimed in. We know what I've got to do to fix my bench press, and we'll discuss some of that tomorrow. not to quit putting all so much focus in the overhead press. I can build my press back with nothing. Right, I've taken a few months off from all overhead pressing, and then I can crank out PR rep work in no time. I can go back to my old maxes in no time. Right, we're gonna have to focus on benching on my 2 bench days, right, in the rotation. So I'm going to end up having 3 bench press days every week, even on 6 days a week, with appropriate accessories. What we know is going to work for me. So with these, I went ahead and microplated up. I did my 5x20. I added a fractional plate again. Okay, we need to get that training volume in, but we also need to keep increasing tension. Okay, I need to keep increasing weight. These 20 rep maxes need to go up, 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 up. Build the back, build the hamstrings, build the glutes. The way that carries over for me to the deadlift. I feel like the good morning, out of everything that I did, probably the good morning and the axle bar rows built my deadlift. They got me to that 615. Right? So all the other supplemental work and stuff is going to help my squat, obviously, is going to contribute also. But the hamstrings going to have to become a priority. So after all these sets of 20, which again was a mild PR, and we'll keep working it up, started messing with the glute ham raise. And I wanted to take it to a different tension level. I ended up using like 4 different settings. And I would go and look at the footage each time, and I'm like, I really feel like I'm not getting it appropriate. Why can I not get this thing set correctly? When we finish the last set of good mornings, we'll see all of that. And I evaluated it. And what people again need to remember, I've left the setting on the glute ham raise the same for like 9 months. Because originally, when I first started doing it, I found the only setting I could do that didn't trash my knees. And I still felt like even doing 5 reps made my hamstrings cramp. But I'm way beyond the strength level now with my hamstrings and where it's helping me at that setting. And we know based upon the different band tensions, when I'm doing, the second band up, not the red band, and getting, again, up to sets of 12. And I mean, I feel my hamstrings on it, and they cramp a little sometimes, but they're not being hit to the degree that I need. And then I started messing with the settings. And the funny part is that I filmed 4, and I ended up filming another one that looked terrible with just body weight. And then I ended up finding the setting and doing a set with just body weight. And I got about 7 reps. And then I waited 5 minutes. And I'm like, let me try to do one last set on camera, which you guys will see when we get to the end. And I got about 6 reps, and I'm like, holy crap. My hamstrings are trashed. They were trashed. It hit them. Finally found the setting, but I don't think I can do 10 reps. When I got it to the right setting, my body weight, I did 7, I think, on one set, and that just fried me. I needed a 5-minute break. And I came back and did 6 with just the body weight, and holy moly. I'm going to try to next deadlift day. I'm just going to leave it on that setting. On the next deadlift day, I'm just going to try to do body weight for 5 limit sets. Because again, these they feel a certain way, and then when I see these on camera, I'm like, oh, these are still not what we want. And like I said, I mess with the height up and down. I mess with moving the pad in and out. And what I realized, I have to drop the pads to the lowest setting, and then I've got to move that whole plate really close in. Right? I don't have the longest legs. 5'9", with a long torso and fairly short legs relative to that. So, in my case, I feel like I needed to move it in quite a bit closer. It's obviously not at the closest setting, but, and you guys will see it on the very, very last set here. Not this one, the very next one. Because these are just, again, I was playing around with different settings, seeing if I could get it to where I could get my knees in the right position. Some of it's like, man, I can't get it right until the final set. And then what I found is that, again, I dropped the plate on the back really low, all the way to the lowest setting, and then bring it in close, about 2/3 of the way into the closest setting it will go in terms of moving it forward. And then we got it. It's hamstring. And I'm doing so in a way that's not just smashing my knees on that bottom. I am worried about ripping those pads, But, you know, worst case, I can buy replacement pads. Not a big deal. They're not that expensive. But this, now we're working hamstrings. But there's no way I could use a band. And I feel like, man, a band at this at the top. Woo. Now, that's all hamstrings. For those curious, yes, I am totally locking my knees at the bottom. You can't really see it that well from this angle, but I am completely locking out when I'm at the very bottom. Now it's hamstring. Okay, this is what we need. This is what's going to bring my hamstrings up. Obviously, the good mornings are going to help, but this takes it up to another level. Doing these after good mornings, 5 limit sets of these, this will fix my hamstring weakness, right? It'll fix it. Then we did our axle bar pin leg rows, which again, my grip is going up, up, up. My grip is getting pretty good at this point. I'm going to keep training grip. And the beauty of it is I've got a progressive way to overload it. You guys don't always see it, but at least 3 days out of every 4. Again, I always take the day off before deadlifting. And I avoid grip work the day before deadlifting. But I've got my pinch block. And I use the 3-inch pinch block these days. And I do 3 holds to basically failure. And I pick a weight that I can get, you know, about 12 seconds. And when I can consistently get past 20 seconds for 3 sets of pinches, I add 2.5 pounds. And I'm noticing I'm able to slowly go up. Able to slowly go up. Now, it's not a massive amount, but I can micro-load that pin. And the same thing, I'm slowly using fractional plates on these to where, you know, again, 15 rep limit sets. Like today on the last set, I squeezed out 16. But because I'm slowly working the volume and weight up on this, and I finally just settled on just doing 5 sets of 15 3 times a week. But with that axle bar, if I just keep slowly micro-loading that weight up, it is higher and higher grip training. And my back strength obviously has to keep pace. Okay, so the grip is coming along, and I don't do that much else for grip now. I do my Captains of Crunch grippers once a week, maybe twice a week. I'll play with a set or 2 to failure. But the real work right now is at least 5 days a week using those pinch blocks. 3 days a week doing the axle bar rows. And that's become my bread and butter grip training. And my grip is holding on phenomenally. But we have to get the hamstrings up. Now, again, I continue to try to improve on the back because I need the back to pull me through when my hamstrings give out. But it's got to be hamstrings. And I think with that glute ham raise now put into the right position, okay, now that I've got it set where I really need it, all right, I can build those hamstrings. And people would say, of course, well, what are you going to do when the body weight gets easy? Well, I can go back to adding the bands. And we add a whole new dynamic. But I can tell you right now, getting to something like 5 sets of 12 with my body weight, with that setting, it's going to be tough. But you know what? My hamstrings are going to be bigger and stronger. But we got to bring them up. And again, people will always say, well, Jason, you got big hamstrings. You got hamstrings. We see them from the side. We see them when you box squat. Like, well, I've got 615-pound deadlift hamstrings. I don't have 650 hamstrings. I have 700-pound hamstrings. And I doubt when I'm fatigued like this, 600 is probably not even possible. But I'm not at 100%. Well, we need it to be. Okay. We need my hamstring strong enough for me to pull 650 on a bad day. That's what I need. So it's got to be worked on. I have to continually work on it. Curls, I did something a little different today. Instead of doing the double links of chains, I pulled just 1 set of chains out. I'm used to it. Changes the strength curve. Now, I have a little less total chain weight on there, so just the peak top amount, the last couple inches is a little lighter than I'm used to, but it kicks in more weight early on. I've got the full weight pretty early in there. So it ended up being about the same level of intensity. Again, biceps got a heck of a pump to the point where they were cramping. 4th set, my biceps were throbbing, and I'm like, oh, I'm done. I'm only going to do 4 today. Because again, we're going to do it 3 times a week after rowing. So what if I only get 4 sets to failure one day? Done a lot of rows first. This is enough to get growth. By anybody's calculations, this is effective volume. Definitely minimum effective volume per workout, and still more volume than a lot of experts will tell you to train your biceps per week. It might seem slightly less than some of my other muscles, but by, again, even normal standards that a bodybuilder would use, it's a lot. Talk about even if I just replicated this day and didn't do 5 like I do a lot of days, that's 12 sets of curls every week after doing rows. So they're fatigued already. It's a pretty good amount, especially for a small muscle like that. And we're doing it at a high frequency. But I'm trying to come all the way back, all the way down, and I've got my elbows back, and I'm trying to kind of put it into that little bit of stretch position. Because again, we need that for the deadlift. That little bit of stretch. Keeping it in close to me. It's in a lot of ways similar to the drag curl as far as that goes. And then it's at peak contraction with those chains swinging up at the top. So again, we're getting a good full range of motion of the bicep. Trying to work it as effectively as we can with only one movement. But it worked. I got a heck of a pump. Biceps were hurting by the end of this. And I felt like just another set would have been a waste. Like, I felt like the performance would have just suffered. Had I tried to do just one more set, it would have been like 9 reps or something. Because again, the biceps felt trashed. And it was overall a lot of work. Pretty tough workout, pretty challenging workout today. And we're going to bench press tomorrow, and we'll discuss what we're going to do for the bench. The bench is going to have to become a higher specialization for me on a serious level. So I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.